Thank you, Jean-Pierre. Thanks for asking me to come today and share what we've done at Allianz. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me okay, Jean-Pierre?
It is okay. A little bit louder would be pleasant.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you for the invite, Jean-Pierre, and thanks for having me. So hopefully I'll be able to give you a view and a share of what Allianz have done in the last couple of years, and a view of our productive blockchain system, which has been running for quite some time. So if I jump in and share a small deck, and good. So
yeah, I can see it.
Perfect. I'm Bob Crozier. I'm the Chief Architect of Allianz Technology and also the Global Head of Blockchain for Allianz Group, and recently a Chief Data Officer for Allianz Technology also. I've been at Allianz for 5 years now, and in that time we've been working very hard on how to set the strategy for blockchain, how to incorporate it into our business where there's real value. We started off by looking at various proofs of concept that we had in train to understand really what were the problem patterns that the business faced and why would blockchain be the best solution for those problem patterns. So if I jump in then to share that story. So first of all, we set a definition for Allianz. What does blockchain and distributed ledger technology really mean for us? And we determined that for us, blockchain was a shared ledger record of transactions, an agreed and common version of the truth that different parties hold and engage with. And that's at the basis of all of our discussions around what blockchain is for Allianz. So what does that mean? Some kind of event happens, a contract execution, maybe a time period elapses, or a user action is performed. That event triggers a smart contract. That smart contract can do any number of things, and I'll share the 3 smart contracts that are at the heart of our productive solution in a moment. Those smart contracts invoke a transaction, which is then settled and executed as per the consensus mechanism that we have built into our distributed ledger, and that transaction is then updated to the ledger and distributed across the network where appropriate. Once that transaction is updated to the ledger, that emits another signal, if you like, which triggers then another event that the transaction has been completed with atomic finality, and then the cycle repeats itself. So this deep process automation, we call it, then continues to run on a permanent basis. Now, as I said, we looked at all of the proofs of concept that were around around the world. Also within Allianz world, we've done a lot around bike theft in Holland, for example. We did catastrophe bond swaps in alternative risk transfer in Switzerland. AGCS, our global corporate and specialty division, had done some work on international programs as well. From those POCs and from our research around the globe, we distilled 3 problem patterns for blockchain and DLT within Allianz Technology and Allianz Group. Reconciliation, spreadsheet reconciliations between partners, commissions, payments, reinsurance treaties, all of those things that I need to see and trust that I have the same data that you have and that you also need to see and trust, and then we can do something with that information. Duplicate or mirrored processes. Where do we duplicate effort because we don't quite trust our counterparty to do their job properly, and we have to be confident that the data is correct, that the transaction has been carried out in the right way. So there's a trust deficit, if you like, which leads to these duplicated and mirrored processes. And then, of course, the single source of the truth, the provenance. Can we have an immutable record of every decision, every transaction, that it was completed according to the rules that we can use then for dispute resolution, for example, or just to understand that everything has been done correctly when we have an audit. So those 3 problem patterns have to be, let's say, prominent in any business problem that we address. 2 out of 3, as Meatloaf used to say, ain't bad. but we like to have all three. And if those three problem patterns exist within a business problem, then blockchain potentially is the right solution, and that's our trigger point then to begin our process of discovery to see if indeed blockchain is the answer. So that process led us to our international claim system at Allianz, and we've got a nice little history here that we originally sent the problem pattern out to Technological University of Munich, to the master's students who were completing an architecture, a distributed ledger architecture module for their master's degrees. And they came back with a number of different solutions on public available software, Ethereum, IPFS, Big Chain DB, and we really liked what we saw. And we took that POC on open source technology into our enterprise, and then built it with enterprise grade software. So let me take you through what that is. So international claims at Allianz. A car driver from Germany with a German car insurance policy drives to Italy. They have an accident in Italy, unfortunately, and then Allianz Italy deals with that claim. The customer gets their claim payout quite as quickly as possible, but Allianz Italy deals with all of the police reports, the repair shop, any medical bills that come up, and of course then that Allianz Italy then have to send that information to Allianz Germany, because that's where the policy owner comes from, and Allianz Germany and then Allianz Italy have to settle up that money and agree that there was coverage, agree on the claim amount, make sure that that's all verified and validated, and then they can settle up and move the euros from Germany to Italy, pay the appropriate fees and so on, and therefore settle the claim. So this used to be this was quite a manual process in the past, and what's visible for the customer? Just Allianz. This is a pure B2B solution behind closed doors, if you like, with mostly internal parties, but one or two semi-external and external partners as well. So what I want to do now, just at this point, is jump quickly to a video to share with you. So if I just stop sharing for now on that, and then share once more with the video. Perfect. So please just let me know if the volume is all here, Jean-Pierre.
Yes.
Perfect. All right.
Let's quickly analyze the situation. A car accident happened in Munich. Both people are from abroad and can't understand each other. Cars are from different countries. This is what is called complicated situation. Due to the different languages and jurisdictions involved, handling of such international situations across our companies was a big challenge. We had back and forth emails, creation of manual bills, and long cycle times, as there were no standardized claim handling processes or billing processes, and the incompatible databases meant a lot of reconciliation. That means claim could take months to handle and settle, and as there was an increased potential for manual error, this was clearly not ideal. Thankfully, we have built a great innovative solution based on blockchain technology. Now ICS covers claims handling in Europe, but its modular structure will help us to build global solutions.
So a little demo there, and if I go back now to my presentation, here we go. So yes, a little demonstration of what the system actually looks like, and I just wanted to reiterate a little bit of what was the problem beforehand. So as Angel, my colleague, said, there are no standardized OE billing process. a lot of manual billing and filing of claims that were international and cross-border in nature. And this would result in delays up to over 3 months in cycle time. There was a notable error rate, manual keying errors, emails get lost, phone calls don't get picked up, and so on and so forth. I wanted to run then through a little bit the benefits of our new ICS platform. So we replaced a traditional 3-tier application, which led to all of these issues in the former setup. And this is one of the reasons why we also chose blockchain to solve this problem. So we've created a standardized billing solution for processing information, and we've enabled cross-border organization automation, so deep process automation between operating entities across the whole of Europe. We have a single source of the truth for all claims decisions across Europe, which significantly means we speed up the process, and we've eliminated the outstanding debt. So if those claims take months to settle, we end up with the wrong money in the wrong bank account. So Germany's holding on to a lot of money which should be sitting in France's bank accounts, for example. And as you know, if the money's in the wrong bank account, you can't do anything with it. So that's inefficient use of capital. And this solution all based on a modern cloud-based architecture. And why is that important? We've moved to a fully cloud SaaS solution, which means that we, as Allianz Technology, control all of the nodes, which means we can do things about versioning control and so on. So in the 18 months that we have been live, we have released 40 updates to the platform without the customer, let's say, being interrupted in their ability to do business. But all they've seen is new features and functions coming at a really fast cadence. 2 to 3 sprints after a request, we have a feature or a function in place, and that's happy customers. That's and I'll give you some of the numbers around that later. So what is the blockchain bit? I hear you ask. I hear you cry. There are some notable smart contracts in ICS, 3 in particular, covering each of those problem patterns that we identified at the beginning. We have a single source of the truth for all claims decisions. That's the audit, the provenance, the smart contract that sits at the core of a distributed ledger. We've resolved some inter-entity workflow and task settlement and verification issues with a smart contract. That means that every event that is created then is sent to an individual for completion, and that has significantly reduced the cycle time of the claim. Coverage check. Does the claim amount make sense? Can we cover the full liability? What about reserving? Yeah, has that been set up accordingly and made proper? And then of course we have the reconciliation task. So inter-entity billing life cycles from creation to settled. This is important for the operators, the claims operators. It keeps them out of prison if they get the VAT calculation correct. So the smart contracts in here do the fees, which are regulatory described across border. So, there's thresholds above I think it's 250 euros or below a total of 1,500 euros for any claim. The VAT on that across multiple jurisdictions across Europe, and any threshold agreements that there happen to be. All of these are dealt with by the reconciliation smart contracts at the core of ICS. So some numbers, some real business value then. So this covers now, actually, we've just added 3 OEs in the last 2 weeks. So this is now 28 operating entities across Europe, which is over 400 claims operators or users of the system. That's tens of thousands of claims per year, which is, and at the last check, which I checked yesterday, we've just breached the 2.25 million transactions since our ledger went live in May of 2021. And that covers the entire volume of cross-border claims in Europe for Allianz, which is significantly into the hundreds of millions of euros. So a really trusted part of our core business, which allows us to reduce, as I said, all of those cycle times, all of those claim settlement, making sure the money's in the right bank account, so it can be used for new business and reducing costs, of course. And we significantly on our build return on investment, some 20x on the cost of the system per year in value to Allianz Group. and to the operating entities in the form of reduced FTE over time, to the tune of about 25 to 30 people per year. So those are some real business value numbers for our international claims system. So with that, what should you do? Get started now. The technology works. We've proven it works. It delivers significant value for Allianz Group and the individual OEs themselves. And over to you, Jean-Pierre. Questions? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Bob. Yeah, you asked for any question out of the seminar? No? So if I may, can you disclose in what other business areas you plan currently to deploy distributed ledger technology within the Allianz Group?
Yes, certainly. Like obviously, we've got a real core engine here, and I think it's based around those three problem patterns. Those three problem patterns exist in multiple parts of the business. So anywhere where there's cross-border claims, for example, life, travel, accident, ski accident, or whatever, and those problem patterns are applicable in other areas of our business. Some of our global lines, for example. Obviously, we're re-looking at international programs now that we know the technology is mature. We did look at international programs previously, but I think the technology was still immature then. We now have that confidence that it works and it delivers real value for us, and not so complex in terms of costs. So we're re-looking at those areas as well.
Yeah, and now I have seen on the companies attached that you also have Volkswagen on the network. Do you plan to have other car supplier on that network, or?
So a natural extension for this network would be into OEM networks, for example. If we look at what Mobi are doing, the mobile open blockchain initiative with the car manufacturers. So again, now that we have confidence that this works, it's about restarting those conversations. You could imagine repair shop networks, for example, also supplying information. And as I look at it, blockchain is just the little bit that sits in the middle. It's sort of 20% of the overall solution. We will be able to connect automatically to accounting ledgers, to core insurance platforms, to further increase the automation in the end-to-end value chain. So it's just enabling as a standalone solution, much more automation, if you like, across the value chain here. So yes, we'd be looking at how can we extend that into other areas. One of the reasons that we had those sort of semi-external companies there is to prove that we can communicate effectively in a highly GDPR compliant manner. Remember, we're dealing with claims information here, so we took obviously quite some input from the legal, from senior legal teams in both inside and outside Allianz to make sure that this was a GDPR compliant solution in dealing with claims, and that's something we're very proud of. And equally proud is that we decommissioned the old system on the same weekend, whilst transferring 12 years worth of claims from the old platform to the new platform. So it's possible to do a big bang here and save quite some considerable amounts of money for the business.
Bob, thanks a lot. And your statements prove the technology is mature, the technology can deliver.
Absolutely.
You are one of the biggest example how it works. We from Ritablock can just add a small part to the entire vision, what we can do out of this technology. Thanks again, Bob, and hope to see you next year in person somewhere physically. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean-Pierre. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate the time. Cheers for now. Have a good Christmas.
Yeah, thanks. Ciao.